Well, right now, I guess the important thing for you is to know that you need to bundle up those kids and need to worry about that wind.
Yeah, but tonight and tomorrow morning, it'll be the cold and possibly the freezing temperatures, which can be devastating to those of us who just got the gardens going. We sent out News 13's David Romero to find out if the chill will kill. He is here with more. Hey, David.
Hey, Matt. Well, last half hour we told you about how important it is to wrap yourself up in this kind of cold. Well, now we're going to tell you why it's important to wrap up some of that vegetation in your yard, because with these hot and cold extremes that we've been going through lately, it's a surefire way to kill that vegetation. Now, for some things growing in the garden like vegetables and fruit, this is especially destructive. Most plants can endure what's called, or what's considered rather, a light freeze. Now, that means the vegetation is exposed to temperatures around 28 degrees for only a couple of hours, and ice will be on the outside of the plant or flower. Now, if the vegetation is exposed to those temperatures for longer, ice can form on the inside of the plant and cause damage to the roots. This is considered a hard freeze. Now, New Mexico is in the part of the country where the last bad freeze is expected around May 1st, and you have until about the 7th of this month to get your garden fully planted in. Now, that may still be unwelcome news rather, for many who have already spent a lot of cash on garden crops. But the best way to protect them is to wrap them in burlap or cover them with a bucket or barrel. And there's one other major thing to do before all of this.
But the absolute key is watering your plants before you cover them. The worst thing you could do is cover something that's dry. You can actually smother it and it can actually die on you.
And garden experts say it's also a good idea to use a plant restarter like that little bottle of Miracle Grow. Hopefully you saw it there in the video. That's because they said that the plants become stressed when they're out in extreme weathers like this, and that is like a shot of vitamin B12, essentially like it is for us, that'll get them going again and get them back to being de-stressed to start growing healthy. Matt, back to you.
Thank you, David. Absolutely right. We don't want to stress out our plants. All right, this late freeze isn't just a problem for our gardens. On a very serious note, it's also a big problem for Chile, which is already struggling with the drought. Kristen, let's...
Yeah, Kristen warned us that this storm was going to be here and that the conditions were going to change. And the wind right now still around in New Mexico.
Yeah, it is still very strong. And that's going to be the problem tonight, is that the winds are going to die down and temperatures are actually going to be colder. And so the plants are really going to need to be protected overnight tonight. But for now, let's talk about what's happening. And for Albuquerque, winds gusting to about 25 miles an hour. So the high wind warning has been canceled for Albuquerque, still in effect for just south of the metro area, and in the southeast we still have wind advisories. So winds still pretty strong. Gusting to 25 here in the metro, out to the east anywhere from 35 to 45 mile an hour gusts. Nothing really dangerous at this point. It's just adding to the chillness in the air, so it makes it feel very cold this morning. Wind chill will be in the 30s for Albuquerque through most of the morning, and then highs today will be a lot cooler, 52 at noon, only topping out at 57 degrees with a blustery afternoon ahead. Skies clearing on out, so we will see a little more sunshine. And again, tonight is going to be the coldest night. It's going to be colder than where we're starting off this morning. So we have hard freeze warnings and freeze warnings in effect. We'll talk more about that and your extended forecasts coming up in a bit.
Well, meteorologist Kristen Van Dyke and the rest of our weather team, along with us here at KRQE, will continue to follow this storm that has moved into the state. You can also log on to krqe.com for the very latest anytime.
Well, UNM Hospital is now trying to hold off on expanding. This morning, the Albuquerque Journal is reporting the hospital wants to wait until the state and federal government agree on funding for Centennial Care. It's the state's Medicaid program. UNMH says it has the $146 million it needs to add an extra wing to the hospital for about 96 beds. Overcrowding at the MDC going to be a hot topic today at an important meeting that is supposed to go on all day long. Bernalillo County's commissioners and attorney, plus lawyers for the inmates and a U.S. magistrate judge, are going to meet to address the overcrowding problem at the jail. Inmates filed a lawsuit about this back in the 90s, and that's cost the county millions ever since. Last month, commissioners rejected the idea of shipping inmates to other jails, but a judge could order them to do that anyway or find even more expensive ways to fix the problem. Well, the man who admits he shot and killed his baby to punish his ex-girlfriend is now supposed to go on trial later this month. Chris Raines shot his 9-month-old daughter in the back of the head in December 2009. He told 911 dispatchers he did that. Raines was 22 at the time. He's now 25. He has spent the last 3 years in jail. His attorneys filed a motion to dismiss the case altogether, saying the state is violating Raines' rights to a speedy trial. Well, the judge agreed but denied the motion. Set the trial for May 20th.
A high school teacher is on paid leave accused of having sex with a student, and investigators are saying one act was caught on tape. Authorities say 31-year-old Jennifer Vigil, a horticulture teacher at Pewaukee High School, had sex with one of her students on 2 occasions. One of the encounters was allegedly in her classroom. The teen told detectives that the first time it happened, Vigil locked him in a classroom and told him he wasn't leaving until she got something from him. The student claims he told her no, then agreed to let her perform a sex act. Investigators say that's when he took out a cell phone and snapped a picture.
How incriminating is that picture? Can you see her face pretty good?
It's pretty incriminating.
Vigil claims the student asked for sexual favors. Vigil is charged with 2 counts of rape.
Schools in Tularosa should be back open today after they were closed yesterday because of a shooting. Tularosa police officers and Otero County Sheriff's deputies were responding to a call here at Tularosa Elementary School about 11 Tuesday night when they say they came across Jesse Vigil. They got into some sort of confrontation, then the shooting started. Vigil was hit and killed. He was 19 years old. Police are not saying which officers fired, if Vigil had a gun, or what the original call was about to ask them to go to the school.
The high school wrestling star accused of mugging another student is expected to be in court today. Last month, the judge had no choice but to drop felony and battery charges against Nick Chavez when no one showed up to court. A deputy says he didn't go because he never received a notice for the court date. The sheriff's department refiled those charges. Investigators say Chavez bullied a younger kid right before the state wrestling tournament and got suspended. His family appealed to a judge, and in the end, Chavez was allowed to wrestle. Well, a former football star who had everything going for him apparently lost it all after a series of bad decisions.
And now he is hoping that his life can at least be a warning to others. Last night on Special Assignment, Katie Kim introduced us to Jonathan Mater. He was an all-star quarterback at Cibola High School. He graduated in 2008. Then he went on to play for the Lobos, but Mater badly hurt his ankle one day. Then sadly, he turned to drugs and alcohol. He lost his scholarship and started racking up DWIs and other arrests. Now, today, he's sitting in a jail cell at the Metro Detention Center, but he is hoping to turn his life around and at the same time set an example for other kids.
What you do today is important because you're exchanging a day of your life for it, a day that you're never going to get back.
He's absolutely right. Right now, Mater is in an alcohol treatment program while he's at the MDC. To watch the full story, which I recommend you do, head to KRQE.com or watch 2 Casa Fox tonight at 9 o'clock.